Hi, I'm going to be talking about the present value. The present value is the current value of a future sum of money given a certain discount rate. In simple terms, it says how much is your future money worth right now. An amount of money in the future is worth less than that same amount of money today. That's called the present value concept. So let's say if you had $100 today, it's going to be worth less in the future than right now. There are three reasons to that. Number one is the opportunity cost of waiting. So if you had $10,000 right now, you could go and spend it. But if you had to wait 10 years to get that $10,000, it's going to be worth less to you because you have to wait a certain amount of time to get access to that money. Number two is inflation. That's the overall increase in prices. Let's say you go to the store right now and buy a certain amount of bread for $5. 20 years from now, that bread is going to be more expensive, so you wouldn't be able to afford it with $5 anymore. Therefore, your money in the future is going to be worth less. Number three is investment. If you had money right now, you could go and invest your money and make more money off of it. But if you don't have access to that money and you get that money in the future, you wouldn't be able to invest it. Therefore, it's going to be worth less in the future than right now. The present value formula states that the present value is equal to the future value in n years on the numerator divided by 1 plus the discount rate, or also called the rate of return, to the power of number of years. That gives you your present value. So here we got future value in n years on the numerator and 1 plus the discount rate to the power of number of years on the denominator. So some of the variables that influence present value, number one is the amount of money or the value. So x plus 10 amount is more than x amount in y years. That's, as an example, if you had $10 and your friend had $100, in 10 years, your friend is still going to have more money than you. The ratio stays the same. Number two, interest rate. The higher the interest rate, the smaller the present value, and vice versa. So if the interest rate is higher, your present value is going to be smaller because mathematically looking, the rate of return is on the denominator. So if it's bigger or higher, since your future value is getting divided by that number, if it's bigger, you're just going to have a smaller present value. And then lastly, number of years. So the higher the number of years, the smaller your present value, and vice versa. So if you have to wait longer to get a certain amount of money, it's just going to be worth less. And mathematically, you can see that since n is on the denominator and it's being 1 plus the rate of return to the power of number of years, the bigger n, the n, the smaller your present value, since your future value is being divided by that bigger number. So let's do a question here. Let's say you just have won a $2 million lottery from the company Gucci Polo. However, this company made you sign a document which stated that they will pay you out the reward 30 years from today. So they won't pay you right now, but instead they'll pay you that money 30 years from now. You want to know the present value based on a 14% return rate. So we know that as we talk, we know that money in the future is going to be worth less than right now. So you want to see that since they're paying you that money 30 years from now and the interest rate is 14%, you want to know how much is your money worth today if they paid it out right now instead of 30 years from now. So first we need the formula, which is our present value uh, equals to future value divided by 1 plus the return over to the power of number of years. Next, we're going to replace those variables with our numbers. So we know the future value is going to be 2 million because that's being paid out 30 years from now. It's not being paid right now. It's going to be paid 30 years from now. Our n is 30 years because that's the number of years we have to wait to get that money. And our rate of return is 14%. But we don't have our present value. That's what we want to figure out. So replacing all those variables, we get 2 million divided by 1 plus 0.14 to the power of 30, which gives us $39,254. So that's like saying if the company paid out the reward today, instead of 30 years from now, they would only pay you $39,254. So you're pretty much getting scammed because the money in the future is not going to be worth $2 million anymore. If they paid out that money right now, you'd only getting about $39,000, not $2 million. That's the end of my presentation, and these are my citations. Thank you for listening.